So, the story I'm going to read to you today is from the autobiography of a formerly enslaved man named J.D. Green. And JD is talking about the type of religious instruction he received as an enslaved person and how those religious lessons were supposed to make black slaves docile and servile to their white masters. And he talks about his rebellion against those norms and an attempt to seek revenge on one of his slave masters for an incident. And yet you, oh niggers, your master has all the care in the world for you. He supplies your daily wants, your meat and your drink he provides. And when you are sick, he finds the best skill to bring you to health as soon as possible. For your sickness is his loss, and your health is his gain. And above all, when you die, if you are obedient to your masters and good niggers, your black faces will shine like black jugs around the throne of God. Such was the religious instruction I was in the habit of receiving until I was about 17 years old. And I told that when at any time I happened to be offended or struck by a white boy, I was not to offend or strike in return, unless it was another black. Then I might fight as hard as I chose in my own defense. It happened about this time there was a white boy who was continually stealing my tops and marbles. And one morning when doing so, I caught him and we had a battle. And I had him down on the ground when Mr. Burmy came up. He kicked me away from the white boy, saying if I belonged to him, he would cut off my hands for daring to strike a white boy. This without asking the cause of the quarrel or ascertaining who was to blame. The kick was so severe that I was some time before I forgot it, and created such a feeling of revenge in my bosom that I was determined when I became a man I would pay him back in his own coin. I went out one day and measured myself by a tree in the wood and cut a notch in the tree to ascertain how fast I grew. I went at different times for the space of 2 months and found I was no taller, and I began to fear he would die before I should have grown to man's estate. And I resolved, if he did, I would make his children suffer by punishing them instead of their father. At this time, my master's wife had 2 lovers, this same Burmy and one Rogers, and they despised each other from her feelings of jealousy. Master's wife seemed to favor Burmy most, who was a great smoker, and she provided him with a large pipe with a German silver bowl, which screwed onto the top. This she usually kept on the mantelpiece, ready filled with tobacco. One morning, I was dusting and sweeping out the dining room and saw the pipe on the mantelpiece. I took it down and went to my young master's powder closet and took out his powder horn. And after taking half of the tobacco out of the pipe, filled it nearly full with powder and covered it over with tobacco to make it appear as usual when filled with tobacco, replaced it, and left. Rogers came in about 8 o'clock in the morning and remained until 11 when Mr. Burmy came. And in about an hour I saw a great number running about from all parts of the plantation. I left the barn where I was thrashing buckwheat and followed the rest to the house, where I saw Mr. Burmy lying back in the armchair in a state of incivility, his mouth bleeding profusely, and from particulars given, it appeared he took the pipe as usual and lighted it, and had just got it to his mouth when the powder exploded, and the party suspected was Rogers, who had been there immediately preceding, and Burmy's son went to Rogers, and they fought about the matter. Law ensued, which cost Rogers $800, Burmy $600, and his face disfigured. And my master's wife came in for a deal of scandal, which caused further proceeding at law, costing the master $1,400, and I was never once suspected or charged with the deed.